How's it going, guys? Just after work here and digging into the Jeep XJ a little bit. So in 2 weeks, my cousin is thinking about starting to build a Ultra 4, maybe a 4800 class buggy, and he wants to go see some of the Ultra 4 guys run at Roush Creek, which is our local Pennsylvania off-road park. So we're going to do that on Saturday, and then on Sunday we're going to take out the XJ and finally get it wheeling a little bit. Well, just sort of have a guy's weekend, have a good time. But noticed when I was driving to work today that I had some issues. This U-joint seems to turn just fine. I'm feeling some like pulling in the steering. And this one, it's like chunky when you're trying to turn it, like, especially right there. I can almost not turn that. So I do a new set of Spicer U-joints that we can throw in there. I just never got around to doing it. So we're gonna get this tore apart, and while it's tore apart, I think I'm gonna take the time. I have about 10,000 miles on this Iron Rock off-road 3-link, and I've never, initially when I put this through, I have bump stops set up, and in general, I think it bottoms out a little bit quicker than it should. I think I'm over limiting its travel. So I may go ahead and pull the springs out, cycle the suspension, and see if I need to tune this adjustable bump stop some more. So that way we are hopefully all set to have a good time at the park. So let's get to it. Oh yeah, all right, that feels like garbage. Yep. So when I put these in, they were not that tight at all. They're just really stiff. And this is the one that felt better. Kind of interested to see. This just feels like garbage. I'm kind of interested to see how the other side feels, because this one felt better spinning it. All right. Well, at least we know we're getting into a real problem, so that's good. Let's go bust the other side loose and see how that one looks. So by the time I got to this point of the project, when I was fixing the thing up, I was about out of budget. So these bearings and shafts are out of a junkyard XJ. And I got 10,000 miles out of them, so if I have to replace them now, not that big of a deal. There's been a lot of snow here lately, so they've been salting the heck out of the roads, and unfortunately I am driving this daily, so maybe the seals were shot and then that salt water finally got in there and took it out of commission. I did have everything the anti-seize when I went together, so hopefully it comes apart without too much trouble. I do have to say, this Iron Rock off-road suspension, been super happy with it. I haven't really had to do anything. I was a little skeptical on their unit ball bearing, what do they call it? The rebuildable spherical joints. They've worked really great. This has a factory style rubber bushing at the axle side. So drivability's been great. I haven't had any death wobble in this thing the whole time. I've been driving it. I've had it up to highway speeds plenty. So no regrets on purchasing that kit, and customer service was awesome. So this bearing, I remember when I put it on, the seal was a little weird, but it seems to be holding up okay. Let's see what... Oh wow, okay, so this one's locked up. This one's completely locked up this way. I can't move that at all. And it looks like it's been hot, actually. All right, we're in the right part to be fixing our problem here. I did not record rebuilding the axle shafts. It was a nightmare. So everything was pretty rusty. When I went to press the caps out, the ears on the axle shafts got distorted. It fought me every single step of the way. And I was able to get them all back together and tweak the ears of the U-joints back to where they're supposed to be, but I don't have a lot of confidence in them. So I'm actually going to try something here that I haven't done on any of my other Jeeps, and that is we're going to try to use the CV shafts out of a ZJ. So I learned this from Dex on YouTube. He wheels XJs really hard. He's got some videos on it. I'll put his card here. But you know, he wheels way harder than I am, and he's had pretty good luck with these CVs, kind of a poor man's RCV. So we're going to give these a shot, and then I'm going to keep the rebuilt axle shafts that I have as trail spares. I've done videos before about rebuilding axle shafts. The card here, if you're interested in seeing that, on my cousin's Suzuki Samurai, putting the brakes on back here. And in a little bit, we're going to start the process of disconnecting the suspension, so that way we can cycle everything and see if we have our bump stops and clearances set right. In order to easily cycle the suspension, we're going to take the coil springs out. So we'll start by taking the shocks off and then disconnecting the sway bar so everything can be dropped down and the coil springs can be taken out before we reattach the shocks and cycle the suspension. All right, so we got the spring out. Gotta get the spring out that side. The sway bar is still hanging me up. So we'll get that figured out, and then we'll put the shocks back on, and we're gonna cycle this all the way up as high as it'll go. See if we can get rid of one of these bump stops here. So our goal is to see what hits first. So we are fully stuffed there. Sorry about the noise. Springs flying everywhere. Boy, I don't know. There's not a ton of room. Oh, interesting. Didn't know that. So let's see this. Panhard hits. Did not know that at all. Wow. Okay. May want to clearance that. You guys can see that is probably not helping much of anything. Goes to show it's always worth cycling your suspension. That may explain a little bit of harshness I have when I bottom out. I think I'll be able to clearance that and do something about it. I guess we can get a wheel travel measurement while we're at it. All right, so fully compressed. Now these will be relative numbers. We are just under a 16th under 20, so 19 and 15/16. And then when we come down here, this will be where the shocks bottom out. Full travel, we are down to 11 3/4. So we got about 9 inches of front wheel travel. Curious to see, is there a mark on this from hitting in the past? Sure enough, it is. It's right there. Okay, so I think what we can probably do at some point is cut this corner off nice, get some more clearance. To decide if that's something I want to do right now. I suppose now's as good a time as any. Alright, so took the corner of this HD brace off. I don't know if you guys can see. It is still hitting a little bit back, so we're going to clearance a little bit more. I think we have room, but it is looking closer to clearing. Hole's getting bigger. We'll have to plate it back in a little bit. Now remember, these are not the stock spring mounts. These are heavy duty ones. I also have frame stiffeners, which push the panhard bar out farther. It just barely is clearing. I don't know if you guys can see. All right, so might clearance one more time. And all right, so we did another round of clearancing, and now we're getting at least another inch up travel, but we want to clean this back so that way that definitely can't hit. We'll cycle it one more time. All right, so bump stops are smashed. I'm sure they could go a little more. Panhard is clearing in every way. And not that I can see, but I still have about an inch of shock travel. So that stuff is very tight there, but not touching. So I'm definitely not taking another one of my hockey pucks out. I'm really happy with this. I'm not seeing any other interference. Let's get a wheel measurement one more time. Now we are at 21.5. Actually, wow. Gained a bunch of clearance. Okay. So, next step is to figure out how to brace that back in where it still clears. Not the prettiest work I've done, but let's see if it all clears. And clearing, not by much, but a lot better than it was, so. Let's set it back down and get the springs back on. Stick around. Next week we will take this out to Roush Creek and see where the weak links are and see if these improvements really made a difference. I'm Dan from Build to Explore, and thanks for watching.